You don't need all the things. Like before you go hit the button and purchase, like stop, just get outside. But Renee has shared this on podcast and I love this. She says, if you were to watch a movie of your life, what would you be like? Throwing popcorn at the screen and being like, stop doing that. Like one thing that would really, if you were to step outside of yourself and watch yourself, what's that really thing? If you were to get super honest, watching your own behavior, because that's like another part of your intuition. I bet your intuition knows a thing that you should do, but we often go, no, that's too hard. I don't want to do that. I don't have the capacity or reserve. So I'm just going to focus all my time over here and buy all these supplements and buy all these biohacks. But if you were to just get really honest and zoom out, like what's that one thing that you really need to hone in on? You may get an answer like more easily than you think. That really requires shutting out the noise. It requires not going on social media and getting sucked into this. It saved me. It's going to save you.
Hey friends, welcome back to Hopeful and Wholesome. Today I have on the show the Biohacker Babes, which I'm so excited to bring on the show. We have Lauren Sambataro and Renee Belz, who are sisters who grew up in a health-driven family that prioritized the fundamentals of wellness and learned early on the importance of curiosity and self-advocacy. Their father, Gene Sambataro, the original biohacker and pioneer of holistic dentistry, taught them the importance of individualization and experimentation from a very young age. Coming together as health entrepreneurs, Renee, a certified nutritional consultant and holistic lifestyle coach with a master's degree in nutrition, and Lauren, a Broadway performer, corrective exercise specialist, and functional health coach, feel a strong passion and drive to not only share each of their journeys toward wellness, but their strategy and motivation to discover our unique bodies through the world of biohacking. And you have probably heard of the Biohacker Babes before. They have a very popular podcast, which I had the honor of being on not too long ago. And I love their approach to biohacking because if you've been on this podcast or listened to it for any length of time, you know I have very strong feelings about the word biohacking and how it's just kind of thrown around these days. But as we talk about in this episode, their approach to biohacking is really, in my opinion, how it's supposed to be. It's about personalizing your health, personalizing women's health, and combining things like ancestral practices and the latest tech to biohack and to optimize and to personalize your function and of your body, your mental health, your physical health, functional metabolic health, all these aspects of you. So they are going to share some really great tools and strategies and things that they have because they test everything out themselves, which I also love. In their experience, just what are the best biohacking things out there, how to use it, how to find what's right for you, how to actually customize, personalize this to your body. So let's jump in. Said in the intro, and we are diving into this topic that there's so many different directions we can go with it, but I am really excited to have y'all chat about all the things y'all have done so much like trial and error experimenting, which I know, by the way, is by design because we went into y'all's human design in the episode I did on y'all's podcast. So I know why y'all are doing this, but I'm excited for y'all to just bring all of this to the show today. So thanks for hanging out with us.
Thank you so
Thanks
much
for having us.
Yeah. So I would love, and y'all can, whoever wants to jump in, I would love to know just kind of the journey that y'all have been on, like separately and together, just to get to this point where you are the Biohacker Babes. Like y'all are trying out all the things. You're seeing what works. You're seeing what doesn't. You're seeing what's best for women's health. So how did y'all get down this path?
Yeah. I usually nudge in first because I'm the older sister only by 2 years, but
Go for it.
Yeah, our collective story is that we're sisters and we grew up in a pretty like health conscious household. Our dad is a biological dentist. Our mom is biological dental hygienist, and they were very involved in holistic health when we were younger. And my dad, who we call the OG biohacker, always had technology around the house. So we were exposed to just trying alternatives to optimize our health at a very young age. And we also learned curiosity. So I think what was impressioned upon us is that there's always another way. When you hit a wall with maybe conventional, traditional medicine, we could really zoom out, step outside the box and find other answers because there's always an answer. There's always, a puzzle to be made of our own health. And that is very unique to us. There's no one size fits all. And I think that's really where biohacking brought us together. It's like, this is really cool. Like, we're sisters, but we're still quite different. And we can use this lens to figure out what's right for us and what's not. So we really, really create ease and simplicity in this lifetime, because we don't want to spend all day long biohacking and stressing about our health. Like, I want to go enjoy myself and have fun. And biohacking has really created a template for us to be able to do that, like enjoy our lives.
Yeah. I would maybe add one more thing, since you brought up mom and dad, really starting our journey, is also just being open to looking down different rabbit holes and not just like closing them off in the health space. Like, always be willing to admit that you're maybe wrong about something, or that you don't really know the truth about a topic. And that what really set the stage for that. So our dad, in 1985, his best friend was diagnosed with stage 4 melanoma, and he was given 3 to 6 months to live. And this tough Italian guy was kind of like, screw you, I'm going to find another answer. He flew out to San Diego in 1985, long time ago, and went to this alternative cancer clinic. And they said, open your mouth. All of the metal has to come out before we can treat your cancer. Goes back to our dad, and says, what are they talking about? And even our dad at the time was like, oh, the silver amalgam fillings? Yeah, they have some mercury, and I don't know why that would be a problem. Most traditional dentists at the time would have said, that's crazy. There's nothing wrong with your silver fillings. But our dad said, maybe I should look into this. Traditional dentistry was definitely not aware or talking about the dangers of mercury at the time, but that completely changed his career for the next 40 plus years. So I think also just having that mindset has been really helpful, always keeping an open mind when it comes to health.
That's
his best friend is still alive today.
Oh, I was about to ask. Oh my God, that's insane. That is very cool. Yeah. Well, and I think that says a lot. I mean, to what both of y'all said about the curiosity. And, we've talked about biohacking on the show before, and I have certain feelings about the word biohacking because I think people use it in a specific way, in a certain way that tends to turn me off a lot. And the way y'all talk about it and use it, and we're so aligned in that, because it's like, let's see what works and what doesn't work. Because there's a gajillion ways we could try out, like there's so many biohacking things out there, right? But they're not all right for you, right? It's finding the one that works for you. And like you said, it's going into it with this mindset of curiosity. And I think that's the other piece too. I think so many times people go into the whole biohacking mindset of like, I got to fix the thing. Just let me fix it. But that's not the mindset. It's like, can I be curious about what can I learn about this? What is it telling me more about me?
Right.
Yeah, I think it's very similar to how functional medicine has gone wrong in a lot of ways. It's like, take this pill for an ill, and in functional medicine, it's like, take a supplement for this ill. And biohacking is like, use this tech for your ill.
Yes.
And it's just not that easy. There's no magic pill. There's no bypassing the hard work. And that hard work is different. Sometimes it's more physical. Sometimes it's more energetic. Sometimes it's more emotional. And we really have to distill down, like, what is that piece of the puzzle that you need for you? And I see that too. Like, I don't like going to biohacking conferences as much anymore, because you walk in, you're in a conference room for 3 days on the weekend. You're not getting any sunshine. It's like, here's all this technology that's going to save your life. I'm like, but I just want to go take my shoes off and be in the grass and in the sun. Like, I don't get it. And technology has its place. I think it really creates efficiency. And there's a time and a place for that. There's a time when you are a busy, full-time working mom and you don't have time to go lay in the grass. Okay, we could use red light for 10 minutes just as an example. Or if you're really stressed and can't fall asleep, you could use your PEMF bed. Time and a place. But we can't get sucked into this tornado of the technology is going to fix all of your problems. It's just not true.
Yes, I love that. Yeah.
Right. And I think also maybe a potential downside of the biohacking space is like over analyzing data. Like, I love having the data. Maybe you pick an Oura ring or an 8 sleep. Like, you pick one thing just to get some data, because I do think that can kind of guide you in the right direction on your health journey. But then I think also, like, step away from all the spreadsheets of analyzing every pinpoint data of your body and just maybe sit in silence and say, what do I need today? Maybe it's as simple as that, just listening to your intuition. Yeah. So not always relying 100% on the data, bringing it in to guide you, but then listen to your body. Your body is so smart. It'll tell you what you need.
Yeah, that's such an important piece. And I do think that I would like to say, I feel like it's more traditional, and maybe that will change, and maybe that won't be the traditional way of doing biohacking, is like just do the thing, right? Versus like, let me check in with my body and what does my body actually need? I think that's such a crucial part. And we talk about, I'll talk about that in my work and with my clients. We talk about it on the show that that's, for me, that's like the ultimate biohack. Like, can you just listen to your body and then you can go to the tools? And I agree with you on the data, because I also think that it can become, especially for high performing women, who listens to this show, it can become this obsession. And I've had women come to me who have spent an ungodly amount of money on labs and all the things. And I'm a fan of labs. I do labs with my clients, but it's like at some point you're just chasing your tail just to get the more data rather than, like you're saying, can we just tune in and listen? Maybe there's a message here the body is trying to send us, right?
Yeah. And I mean, there's so many of these direct to consumer lab companies. I mean, you could work with a functional medicine provider and get the labs and not listen to your practitioner when they're trying to like tell you the real thing. But you could buy labs online and they're sending you these, basically they're AI driven recommendations that are not personalized to your physiology. They're not asking what story is your body telling. They're just going off of numbers. They don't know your preferences. They don't know what you're feeling day to day. And I've seen some really bad information, potentially dangerous information. Just one example that's coming to mind is like, oh, a female has low iron, so take more iron. Well, iron can be really inflammatory, and we're not distilling down like, why is your iron low? Are we looking at the full panel? Are we taking that into context? No, we're not. So I think, and that's partly AI is trying to figure this thing out, which is not perfect. And I think a lot of people are turning to AI for answers.
Right.
There's big gaps. It's not correct. Like I asked ChatGPT to help me redesign my bathroom and it took the toilet out. I was like, if it's taking the toilet out, then what is it doing? Yeah. I was like, what is it doing to my health recommendations if I'm asking it that? I'm like, you can't just take a toilet out of the bathroom. Yes. Like that's a fixture that's there.
That's hilarious. It's an eyesore. You don't need that in there.
Yeah. We just wanted like more shelf room for flowers and candles. I'm like, but that's a functional thing that I need.
Oh my gosh. That's too
wild. Funny. Yeah.
So we have to be careful. I think like our physiology is really delicate and there's always a story. And I think we're jumping the gun in a lot of ways, seeking more answers, seeking more data, outsourcing our health when a lot of the answers are inside of us already. We just don't want to slow down and listen to them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. And I think that's the crucial piece. When it comes to like speaking of kind of this personalization or lack thereof in a lot of cases, right? What do y'all think? And you can give me whatever comes to each of y'all. What do y'all think is kind of the best way to find this personalized approach for your own health versus like following this cookie cutter thing or just doing all the biohacking things and then you're like overwhelmed? And so what's the best way for us to personalize this?
Yeah, I'll jump in. Yeah, I mean, it is tricky. I would say, first of all, it does take time. Like, don't feel like you're going to figure this out overnight. I think accepting that there may be a little bit of trial and error with the experimentation, and that just gets your mindset, I think, in the right place for the biohacking. But I think start with like one piece of data, maybe one piece of tech, and just try it out. Commit to 30 days of that. I think something as simple as looking at your heart rate variability can be really great for people because it doesn't require you to go get your blood drawn. There's no urine stool testing, nothing fun like that. It's something really simple you can measure with just like a heart rate monitor. You don't even need like an Oura Ring or a Whoop band. You can just buy a heart rate monitor, download an app. And I think that's a really good measurement for women because it is looking at how resilient your nervous system is. And what I see a lot with women is, and I'm sure you both see this too with your clients, we see these, quote unquote, perfect labs. Their doctor said, oh, my labs are great. Obviously, with a functional lens, you can pick up on more sooner. But I think if your nervous system is not resilient, maybe you won't pick that up in the lab. So just by looking at HRV and seeing over time, okay, when I turn off all the blue light exposure 2 hours before bed, what happens to my HRV over the next 30 days? Or what if I drink another glass of water when I wake up in the morning? Does that impact my HRV, right? These simple habits. And HRV, it's such a good indication of what, like I said, how resilient you are. And I think resilience is what we're all looking for because none of us are going to get rid of the stress. That's just not possible. Between kids, our work, and just life, the world we live in, it's going to be there. So if we can train our nervous system to be more resilient, I think that's really a good starting point for women. And there's so many great ways to raise HRV, right? that are free even. Breath work, like Lauren said, laying in the grass, grounding. You could do a PMF mat. In the right timing, you could do cold exposure, sauna, heat exposure, optimizing your sleep hygiene, cutting out alcohol, maybe cutting out toxic relationships. There's a lot we can do just looking at HRV. I think that's a good place to start.
Yeah, I love that one.
Yeah. I would say just to simplify, I would simplify, but maybe just picking one thing. I think we all have our list of things that we want to optimize potentially, but there's no way that your nervous system or your brain power can focus on all of these things at once. And I think there's a good chance that all of those things that you're trying to optimize or all those symptoms are probably linked. And so, for example, I always have, I want to build more muscle and I want to have more energy and I want to optimize my supplements and I can't do all the things. So this year I really decided to focus in on my breathing. My respiratory rate on my devices is reported a little bit higher. And I could say, well, maybe that data is not accurate, but I also could maybe sit with this and explore all the potential whys and all the potential links. If that is true, if my respiratory rate is higher, I can think of maybe why we grew up doing ballet, sucking in, not breathing, dysfunctional breathing, not breathing into the belly. Did that create this low level stress response? And now that's how I breathe. That's very possible. Is that telling my brain that I'm stressed overnight, so I'm not sleeping well? Is that not allowing me to build true resilience when I get stressed during the day? There's sort of this ripple effect where it could end up helping my sleep, my hormones, my energy, my workout recovery if I just focus on this one thing. So my example is I'm doing Buteyko breathing, which is going to help my CO2 tolerance. So it's doing breath holds. And I'm already seeing like this fast dispel of like all these benefits just by focusing on one thing that's really quite simple. And I could have gone through the checklist and I could have created like a very busy day, but that just drives us more crazy, right? Like nobody needs more things they have to do in a day.
Yes.
But can you explore one thing and just watch? Is there a ripple effect?
Yeah. Hey, y'all, we'll get right back to the episode. But first, let me ask you this. You've built a vision that others admire. And you've built something that you're really proud of. But behind the scenes, your body feels like it's lagging behind. It just can't quite catch up to your brilliance and your mission that you have. That late night second wind, the foggy mornings, the hormone shifts, the endless push and forcing. You can't strategize your way out of that. And you already know you don't need more supplements. You don't need another supplement stack. You also don't need another side hustle disguised as self-care because nobody wants to have their health as a side hustle. This is about recalibrating your entire ecosystem. And that's why I created the Quantum Reset, a premium 3-month high-touch healing experience for visionary women who are ready to feel as powerful in their bodies as they do in their business. Inside, we decode your nervous system, your minerals, your hormones. We read your labs like the sacred text that it is, so we have actual answers. And then we pair that with deep energetic recalibration, subconscious release. We use gene keys, we use human design, and true embodied healing. This isn't about fixing burnout, because that's not what we're doing here. This is about becoming the woman whose body is powerful, whose body is completely electric, whose energy, clarity, radiance finally matches the size of her mission. If you know your success isn't meant to cost you your vitality and you're ready for a science-backed, spirit-led reset, then the Quantum Reset is your invitation. So check the link in the show notes or send me a message on Instagram, and let's bring your body back online with your brilliance. Now, let's get back to the show. Yeah. Those are both really good examples. And I love that y'all were so specific with your examples, because that kind of leads me to the next thing I wanted to ask you, because as I mentioned before, there's so much out there. And even you can go to listen to y'all's podcast and y'all talk about so many different things, and it can be really overwhelming. So how do you, I know there's this intuitive piece that we talked about. Can you listen to your body? But do you have any tips or strategies for women on deciding on the one thing? How do I decide on the one thing to try?
Yeah. I mean, maybe I guess you could look at this as a really simple thing or a very complicated bucket, but focusing on sleep, right? If we're spending 1/3 of our life sleeping, optimizing that has to impact the rest of your day.
That's true.
And obviously, yeah, so that could go down the rabbit hole of, so if we're going to just focus on sleep, let's say that sleep hygiene, foundational, number one. Those are all free things, right? The cool, dark bedroom we've all heard about, comfortable mattress, Do you have noise pollution outside your window? Do you need earplugs? Do you need a sound machine? Right? Getting all of those set, watching your blue light exposure at night, getting your morning sunlight in the morning, that's so helpful for sleep. I think that's still a weird concept for people. Like, why does morning sunshine help me sleep better at night?
Later.
Yeah, it does. It's like, if you have, especially if you have insomnia or just kind of very restless sleep, you might not be getting enough sun during the day. And that's a free biohack. And then from there, we can go a little bit deeper into the sleep. Do you feel like you've done all the free things and you're still not seeing results? I am actually a very big fan of, especially women, getting sleep apnea testing. For so long, we were told the only people that had sleep apnea were the older men with the beer bellies, the thick neck, the ex-football player. That has gone out the window. Women can have sleep apnea. I found out I have moderate sleep apnea. And I got to that point I had thought I had optimized everything. And I'm like, I still feel like intuitively, I was like, I need a lot of sleep to function.
Yeah.
That doesn't resonate with me with how healthy all of my daily habits are. So I went and got tested. I have moderate sleep apnea. So my Oura Ring, unfortunately, did not even pick this up. The only thing it said was you have a high respiratory rate. So that's a little bit of a cue. But the sleep apnea testing found that I stopped breathing about 30 times a minute, which is crazy.
Holy moly.
So yeah. That's a big problem for women. And I think, like Lauren said, it's a lot of the history of our ballet background, not learning how to breathe properly. I think a lot of women were not breathing into the diaphragm. I grew up singing, so that was my lesson on the diaphragm. And even that didn't help. So if you haven't done any kind of training, I'm sure you've never even thought about this. So learning how to breathe properly, maybe you need to clear out your nasal passages. There's a lot there. But I think for women, if you feel like you need a lot of sleep and you've done everything right, get a test. You can do an at-home sleep study now. It's become so easy. You don't have to go to the sleep lab and be hooked up to all the wires and pretend to sleep for a couple hours. It's not really ideal. So that was kind of a rabbit hole. But I think sleep, there's just so much more you can continue to unpack. Yeah. And then with sleep apnea, your body is in a sympathetic state all night long. So you're not resting, recovering, rejuvenating your body. So you wake up, you feel tired, and then you wonder why you don't want to go to the gym and cook your healthy food and do all the healthy things. So sleep is really just the foundation. And then the icing on top is there are some sleep supplements that may be helpful for you. Again, maybe pick one thing and try it. Like magnesium could be helpful, maybe some glycine, L-theanine, GABA. There's very simple things you could try and just see, does that improve my sleep? And you could use an Oura Ring or a Whoop Band to see if those are helping. But the supplements are kind of the last thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that
was super helpful.
Yeah, the topic of sleep.
No,
but I think if you optimize that, it goes over, your hormones get better, your mood gets better, your mental health gets better, your gut gets better, so much happens.
Yeah. Oh, it makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Did you have something to add, Lauren?
Ooh, there's just so many things. I'm going to actually steal something that Renee has shared on other podcasts, and this really stuck with me. I don't know if this will resonate with your audience, but in terms of picking that one thing to maybe start focusing on, because it's overwhelming. And on our podcast, we share a lot of tech and we try to explore it ourselves so we can share with you, who is this for? Why would you maybe use it? You don't need all the things. Before you go hit the button and purchase, stop, just get outside. But Renee has shared this on podcast, and I love this. She says, if you were to watch a movie of your life, what would you be like? Throwing popcorn at the screen and being stop doing that.
Stop.
Is there one thing that would really, if you were to step outside yourself and watch yourself, what's that really thing, if you were to get super honest, watching your own behavior? Because that's another part of your intuition. I bet your intuition knows a thing that you should do, but we often go, no, that's too hard. I don't want to do that. I don't have the capacity or reserve. So I'm just going to focus all my time over here and buy all these supplements and buy all these biohacks. But if you were to just get really honest and zoom out, what's that one thing that you really need to hone in on? You may get an answer more easily than you think. That really requires shutting out the noise. It requires not going on social media and getting sucked into this saved me, it's going to save you. Well, you're not the same as that person. So that's very unlikely. That would be a gamble. Close your eyes, get quiet, zoom out, picture your life, and let's just see if something quite simple comes up. Very may will. That was harder to say. Very may will.
Yeah. No, that's I love that visualization. That's such a good practice. And I think a lot would come up just in a lot of areas if we were to imagine ourselves, like, oh, that pattern and that thing you say to yourself and that thing you're thinking about all the time, like just looking at yourself objectively is like, that's a really good practice. I think that's a great practice. And I think, Renee, the two things came up for me when you were telling your story. And because you mentioned sleeping, like how much of our life we spend sleeping. But for me, it was sleeping and breathing. Like those are the two things we do the most in our life. So if you can optimize your sleeping and your breathing, I have a brick and mortar Pilates studio and I lead Pilates trainings, and I tell my trainees this all the time. Like none of us know how to breathe properly. Like it's such a big part of our Pilates training. Like we really don't know how to breathe properly, and it's such a big part of it. And so I think I agree with you so much. The breathing and the sleeping. It's not like the sexy things we want to be like. Tell me how long to stay in my cold plunge and how long to do the sauna. And it's like not the sexy things a lot of times we want to talk about. But the sleep and the breathing is, I mean, you die without it, basically. So I think those are really good things to optimize.
Yeah. And I just want to add really quick, just a short anecdote. Like I did a cadaver dissection training recently.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh my, it was really actually life-changing. Yeah. The cadaver that I was working on was a woman. She was 71. I didn't know her age until the end. I would have thought that she was in her 90s based on her physical presentation.
Oh, really?
So, I can make assumptions that she didn't have a lot of movement or sunshine or, positive mindset community. But we started to explore her lungs, and we were able to like falsely breathe air into the lungs so we could watch the lungs expand. And the lungs should expand 360, but also affect the diaphragm. And her diaphragm did not move.
Oh,
it was like there was this muscle memory post-mortem.
Holy
She's not breathing, the heart's not beating, and the diaphragm did not move. And then I'm like, oh my God, did her diaphragm never move in her life? Did she never breathe right? And still after she's living, it's still those tissues like remember that.
I know. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. And so like the reality check is like, this really takes work. It's a habit. How many times do you breathe in a minute, in a day? So like for my Boutique breathing, I know I have to do it really 5 times a day to make a change, which kind of sucks. Like it's a lot of effort. But if you stick with something long enough, and that's the thing, I think a lot of people don't stick with things long enough. They do it for a couple of weeks and they're like, oh, they didn't work. It's like, of course it didn't work.
Right.
That's why if we can simplify, focus on one thing so you're not overwhelmed, and really like give it time for your body to instill this habit change and for you to start putting the pieces together. I think it's so worth it. Habits are not easy, but they're worth it.
Yeah, I agree so much.
I think I love the way you said that, Hope, about like we all need to sleep, we all need to breathe. And then like to add to that, I think just like water and air also so important. And what I love about those aspects is once you kind of biohack them, you're usually good, right? Like get a really good water filtration in your house. Get rid of the plastic water bottles, invest in a good glass or stainless steel bottle. Once you do that, like you don't go back. You don't think about that. And drinking toxic tap water every day, do you know how much detox you need to do? Then you're going to maybe think, oh, I need this detox kit and this juice cleanse and stuff. I'm like, just stop drinking the lead and the arsenic and the pesticides in your tap water. Just stop drinking that. And then also with air, like get a good air filter for your house, open your windows when you can. The air that we're breathing is also so important. And once you have that set up, you have to replace the filters every 6 months. Maybe you vacuum them. It's really not a big deal once it's in place.
Yeah. The simple, it's the basic things, right? Like none of that is crazy. Like it's breathing and it's sleep and it's air and it's water, like basic necessities, like optimizing those things are for a lot of people. It's like that covers a lot of bases. Cause like you said, it's like, then you're not thinking about, balancing my hormones this way. Well, like if you optimize your sleep, a lot of times some of those things are going to balance out. Right. And the water thing, I have all these toxins and now I have to I feel like that kind of sets the foundation that impacts all these other little things, that at the surface.
Yeah. Ripple effect.
So yeah, for sure. Do y'all have any maybe lesser known little biohacking things that you have found to be really powerful that because I know I love that. I also love that y'all try out all these things before y'all start talking about them on your show and on your pages. Do you have any like lesser known things that you felt like that's maybe surprised you, or you're like, oh man, this is more powerful than I thought it was going to be, or this thing could help more people, and like anything like that that's coming to mind?
Probably known, but I think it's worth repeating. Just for me, like setting my sleep and wake time to be consistent. That's that's not technology. That's just a practice. It's just a habit.
Yeah.
I really try to wake up at the same time, no matter what. I travel a lot, and people think I'm crazy for like just keeping that rhythm. But I'm like, but that has a ripple effect. It makes everything else so much easier. My energy is more predictable. My brain cognitive function is so much more predictable. How and when I'm going to fall asleep is so much more predictable. And it's free.
Yeah.
It is
for sure.
100% free.
Yeah.
That's a good
And most
one.
people are not doing it.
That's true.
Yeah.
No, that's true.
Because it's hard.
Yeah.
It is hard.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you just create boundaries for yourself. And when you have those boundaries and you know that that is the most important thing to honor yourself and your needs, like you don't even think about it. Like there's no decision fatigue around it.
Right.
That's just
You
what
do
needs
it.
to happen because you feel good doing that.
That's
Right.
good.
Yeah. Maybe as far as like tech, yes, we have tried a lot of things. My list of tech I don't like is maybe almost as big as the list of tech I do like. And that's part of what we love about, creating the Biohacker Babes is like, we want to try out these things. Like, to be honest, a lot of times we get sent things to try for 3 months so we can fully analyze. And I'm happy to share honest opinions on any device out there that I've tried. But I would say something I always come back to is the Brain Tap. I have had it for almost 8 years and I have used it almost every single day. I know it's not for everyone, but for me, like my Achilles heel is that and that this is a little bit in my human design. I tend to, be full throttle, sympathetic. We all talked about how we grew up in that realm of productivity equals people will like me more.
Yep.
That's how I receive love. And so for me, it's been, how do I support that parasympathetic state more often? And that's what the Brain Tap does. So it uses light and sound. So yes, it's technology. And it puts your body into a parasympathetic state very quickly. Now, there's 2 aspects of the Brain Tap, which I think there's some debate about. There's one side of it where there is a voice talking to you, which if you're looking for something specific, maybe it's weight loss or ruminating thoughts or some kind of addiction, the voice tracks may be helpful for you. I personally like the music-only tracks. You can pick what brainwave state you want to go into, gamma, theta, delta, beta, depending on what you have to do after your session. But I go and do like a theta or delta brainwave state almost every day after lunch. And I come out of that feeling like it's a brand new day. I'm like ready to kick ass again.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if I don't have that downtime, I'll push through and I'll burn out and then I won't feel well the next day. So I just know I have to schedule that 30 minutes to do that. And the technology is great also for people that feel like, well, I can't just lay down. My brain doesn't shut off. I just lay there. I get antsy. That's where the tech can really be a beautiful thing, I think, because even if maybe I don't fall asleep, I'm still getting the benefits. My brain is getting the benefits and I'll feel rejuvenated after.
Yeah.
So that's one piece of tech I love.
Yeah.
I've it's time to get my 3rd one because I've just beat the battery to death. I'm like, I gotta charge it every other day.
Gotten your money's worth for sure.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Really
Oh yeah. I'm down to a penny a day, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's
That's
not going
amazing.
to the biohacking graveyard. We always talk about that. Like, I'm like, where does all this tech go when we're done using it? It's like, nobody needs like bulky stuff sitting around. And can I share a piece of tech just because you
Please.
did?
Yeah. Go for
I'm
it.
obsessed with my Apollo Neuro. Are you familiar with this? So it's a vibration technology.
Okay.
It comes as a wearable, but you can also, if anyone's just listening to this, you can clip it on. I have it clipped to my shirt. It's using vibrations. So it's touch therapy, which touch therapy is like one of the most ancestral ways to signal safety in the body. It's like receiving a hug, or it's like getting vibrations, human resonance from the earth. And there is an AI component. I can program it to vibrate when I want to wake up or downregulate before bed, but there's also an AI component that senses if my heart rate's going up and I'm getting stressed.
Interesting.
I.e., every time I go to board an airplane, the airport, it starts buzzing. I'm like, got it.
Yep.
Got it. I need to breathe. And the point is not to squash your stress response. We're not trying to be out of sympathetic all the time. That's not where we want to live. But it's just like a little gentle reminder. And I have it on right now because when we podcast, it's very sympathetic. We're all talking. We're all like hyper-focused.
Yeah.
It's just like a little touch. It's a little like, hey, I'm here. Just remember to breathe and soften when you can. And I just love that. Like I've noticed my HRV go up and I could go like, oh, look at my high HRV. Like I'm in the HRV Olympics. But really, it's about building that resilience to stress because because stress is normal. We get stronger. We evolve through stress. We need stress. But what we want to know is that, can you recover from that stress? That's really what makes us sort of like badass humans. And so I love this technology. They've done a lot of research on specifically like autism spectrum disorder. So kids that have anxiety on top of ASD, and it's so helpful just calming that stress response. So you can actually get in and get some work done. Great for veterans. And I would say just like women in general that feel like they're always just sort of up here and can't really settle. It's just like a nice little, it's sort of like tapping in a way.
Just a reminder. Yeah.
Yeah. And it just feels sort of like a nice little hug. You know? I think hugging is really important. We should all be doing like 7 minutes of hugs, but sometimes you don't have the people around or whatever.
Yeah.
So this is my little hug.
I love that. I love it. Well, and it's not, I like that concept because it's just a gentle reminder. Like it's not anything blaring or like judgy, or it's just like that the little vibration is enough to remind you like, oh wait, that's so fascinating. I love that. Well, and I love that both of these that we're talking about, it's all about the nervous system. Like I think that's a big lesson there. It's like, but the one you talked about, Renee, same thing. It's like, I love too that you were saying like you scheduled that time for yourself to go into your brain tap thing. Like, I think that's so crucial too. It's like, okay, I set aside this time and I know I'm going to dedicate this time, because you're talking about habits, or like we have, I think that's the other piece too, is we have to commit to that, right? And be intentional about it. And I love that both of these are about the nervous system. I think that says a lot.
It's huge. I mean, it's like so ancestral. It's the nervous system was here to be the surveillance, to make sure that we were safe and surviving from threats. And again, stress and threats are not bad, but we do have to have that balance. So I think there's just so much, especially for female physiology, that gets kind of out of whack. And that downstream ripple effect could go in the negative direction if the nervous system is not right. Again, I don't think you can out biohack, out supplement, out protocol a dysregulated nervous system. You 100%. Cannot bypass that.
Yeah, 100%.
No, because it won't receive that dysregulated nervous system. It won't receive the good organic meal that you're trying to eat, the fancy NAD IVs you're paying for, like all the things. I mean, that's a whole nother topic, but like, I think people are just spending so much money dumping things into their body, and their nervous system, their mitochondria, like are not receiving it. You're just wasting money and time.
Yep. 100%. Yeah. 100%. Lauren, with the one you were talking about, so it gives you the little vibration. Is it just for you, is it enough just that reminder and you can just kind of calm yourself down? Or do you have like practices that you go into to calm yourself down?
I'd say this has become more of a passive technology. Like it is talking to my nervous system. Like you don't have to engage with it, but sometimes I'm conscious. I'm like, oh, right. It's vibrating. Oh, right. I'm stressed. So I'm going to come back into my body. It's sort of an invitation back in. But a lot of the times, like the technology has proven to just be a nice passive sort of reinforcement of nervous system balance. So I think there's different ways you can engage with it.
Sure.
But I like that we have the passive option, not because I'm trying to skip the hard work, but like, we all just need more touch therapy. Like, how brilliant. Like, I can't find my husband or my dog to hug. Like, okay, it's okay, you know?
Yeah. No, I love that.
Yeah.
And I read something the other day. It was talking about hugging and kissing, and like the kissing, it was like anything less than was it like 25 seconds or something? Like doesn't do anything. Like you need the full 25 seconds if you're kissing to get like the whatever oxytocin or whatever. So I'm like, okay, hon, get ready for some longer kisses here. That little peck you give me when you leave isn't enough.
Not enough. Yeah. Grab their face.
Wow.
Right. Yeah. So it's like all for the nervous system and like those feel good hormones. And I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
But I love that things are about nervous system. Renee, do you have something to add?
Yeah. Well, just with the Apollo, I like that in the app, it even says it shouldn't be intense enough that it's distracting.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. Like sometimes mine, I guess the AI, it'll be like, hey, buzzing, you need to calm down a little bit. But most of the time it's like, it's such a gentle vibration. You don't notice it. And I think that's part of the technology. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's super cool. I love that. These are both, and those are ones that I'm not super familiar with. So I love that these are new things that maybe a lot of people don't know about. So I love that we're able to share those with people. Good. That's super cool. Yeah, I love that. So,
and they've been around a long time.
Oh,
they've been around a long time and have a lot of good research versus like a lot of the gadgets that are coming on Instagram nowadays. Like, they're there for a couple months and then they disappear. And you're like, well, what happened to that company?
Yep.
BrainTap and Apollo have been around for a very long time.
That's good.
So that's something else to look at with a device. How long has it been around? How much research do they have on their technology? Not just like BrainTap isn't saying, oh, well, there's all this research on binaural beats and we're going to publish that and say that that's us. No, they've actually studied the BrainTap and that specific technology. And same with Apollo. Yeah.
That's cool.
And just as a quick example, like Renee and I do not like vagus nerve stimulators. Since we're talking about nervous system, that would be one of those things that seems quite trendy. We've tried them. They don't seem to work subjectively or objectively, like no change in our data. And we also don't really feel anything. And I think it's sort of a gimmicky thing. So just one thing that we don't think works.
Well, it's trendy to talk about the vagus nerve. Yeah, I was just saying, well, it's trendy to talk about the vagus nerve. I think more and more people are like aware of what it is and what it does. So I feel like that's probably an easy marketing thing, right? To talk about vagus nerve. So
it's so trendy. My cadaver dissection, the teacher was like, why does everyone want to talk about the vagus nerve? Like, he's just very anatomical and he looks at cadavers all the time. And he was like, he didn't get it. And we were like, it's trendy.
Like, what's the big deal?
He's like, I know the
He's
whole
like, what's
body.
Instagram?
Like, why?
Yeah. Right. That's awesome.
There's someone that studies the body, and that was not like a big hitter to him. That was some perspective. I'm like, oh, we just latched onto the story that this is the thing we're supposed to be doing right now.
Yeah, for sure. No, I love that. One other thing I wanted to ask you before we start to wrap up, we touched on this and you'll have mentioned a few things, but we talked about this intuitive piece that plays a part in everything that we're talking about and what we're choosing and what we think is going to support us and all that. Do each of y'all have different practices that help you dial more into your intuition to be able to lead from there?
Yeah, there's been a lot of things, the obvious things, breath work, stillness, meditation, time in nature. But something maybe outside of the box that's been really helpful to me is some psychedelic experiences in bigger doses, but also just microdosing. What I'll just say, like microdosing psilocybin, for example, in a microdose has been a huge pause for me. It really slows down time so that in the moment I can really have a conversation with me and not get sucked into the outside world or feel impressioned by other people or just feel pressured by expectations. Like I can really kind of just get still and be honest with myself and hear my intuition talk. And it helps because like being quiet and still is difficult, right? It's like unnerving. It's uncomfortable to sit in stillness. And microdosing mushrooms has really helped me sit in that and get comfortable with the stillness. And now I can do that without the medicine. But as a first step, it was really helpful for me to just be okay in that stillness and just start listening to my voice. And then once you listen to your intuition, your voice, then the voice gets louder and stronger because it goes, oh, you are listening to me, right? So we create some behavior, some habit changes around that. So now I don't have to use that all the time. It just naturally feels comfortable talking to me because it knows that I'm going to probably listen.
Yeah.
I had a very similar lesson with psychedelics, macrodosing psilocybin. I didn't realize that I am just always in this forward motion and that I was very uncomfortable with the silence, like kind of like Lauren said. And so learning, not under a macrodose, like how to sit in that silence and be okay with not being productive for a little bit, actually relaxing and taking time for myself, because the mushrooms really like amplified that for me. I actually felt like I wanted to crawl out of my skin. That's the best way I can explain how I felt. It's like, oh my gosh, this is icky. I just want to get out of this feeling. And it was like, hey, you just need to learn to sit still for a minute. So that partially was really helpful. And then also actually microdosing LSD was really eye-opening because doing that, you realize that you can't multitask. It's like your brain doesn't allow you to multitask when you're microdosing that. And if anyone is like, what the heck is she talking about? She's like doing drugs. The microdose is subperceptual. Like doing it, you're not even aware of it. At the end of the day, I'm like, wow, I really couldn't multitask. And one, I got more done. I actually felt better. I was in a better mood. And by the end of the day, I was more content with how my day went.
Sure. Yeah.
So that was very eye-opening. And then also I'm going to bring in the brain tap again, because again, putting your body into that parasympathetic state is when your body speaks to you. And the things that come to me during these brain tap sessions are just wild sometimes. And they don't come to me any other time of day. So
Yep. Because it doesn't have time. There doesn't feel safe enough to speak to you then, right? I love that. Those are both so good. I've had a couple guests talk about microdosing. So we have talked about that on the show. So I that's so fascinating.
Okay, great.
That y'all, that's kind of where your intuition, you kind of got in touch with it. I love that. That's very cool.
It's helpful, especially for women. We're just not trained to listen. We're trained, as kids in general are brought into a very binary educational system, but then also we grow up in a masculine framework where it's like, okay, you just have to say yes. We're not taught to be creative or try another way or be ourselves. And so we really have told our intuition, like, don't talk, please stop. There's no room for this.
Yes.
So we really do have to find this way back in and remind it that it's okay to share. And that's actually our greatest asset. And
for sure.
I think can create a lot of ease.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
for sure.
This is so good. So good, y'all. I do have one more question I want to ask each of you as we wrap up, something I like to ask everybody. But if one of y'all wants to share where everybody can find out more about you and follow along and the podcast and all the things.
Yeah, podcast is the Biohacker Babes. We release every Monday. We're at 342 episodes, and we had you on there a couple ago.
Yay.
Our website is the biohackerbabes.com, and we spend a lot of time on Instagram, biohacker_babes.
Perfect. All that is in the show notes, of course, and definitely go check out the podcast. And I feel like that's the perfect opportunity for y'all to tune into all the things we've been talking about, like hearing about all the things that Lauren and Renee talk about, and then just tune into your intuition. Like, okay, which one of these do I want to try first? I think this is a great way to get started. So I love that. The last question I want to ask you that I like to ask everybody, what do you think is the most important thing you can do to live with purpose?
Probably on the intuition talk, like quiet the noise. Just take 5 minutes, even if it feels uncomfortable, because there's just so much noise. And now, especially with AI, it's just, it's kind of an assault on our nervous system and our connection to self. And it's so easy to get swept up, and it's so exciting. I feel like, you could very easily lose yourself. And I think it just takes 5 minutes. I think actually it's very possible you shared a very similar thing on our show. And I think it works for all three of us. Like, can you just find a little bit of quiet time and just quiet the noise and just see what comes up?
Yeah. I love that. That's powerful practice.
Yeah. Let me think. With purpose, I think one is to be open to that you could have more than one purpose. I think like for so long I thought like, oh, what is my one purpose for being on this planet? It's like, oh, actually maybe I have like 6 different things. But then I think also tying it back into the nervous system, like really tuning into when your nervous system, and maybe that's a little far-fetched for people, or like when your energy really feels like it's naturally thriving, that is a really good guide that you are in alignment with your purpose. So unfortunately, I think a lot of people think that they're tired or they didn't sleep well. And it's like, well, maybe your job is just draining you and not aligned with your purpose. But when you find that, like what really invigorates you, that's your purpose. And that keeps you going. You don't need the extra cup of coffee when you're aligned there.
That's true. Yeah, I love that. That's so true. Thank you both so much. I love this conversation. I think it was all encompassing. And I think there's so many good takeaways here of all the things to try, the tech things, the intuition things, like it's all here. So thank you all so much for the work that you do and for hanging out with us today. This is awesome.
Thank you so much for having us. We love talking about, we do this all day long. So thank you.
Love it.
Yeah. Thanks, Hope. We love your show. So thanks for having us on. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you.